Hey there, welcome to the very first episode of the Self-Taught Golfer podcast. I'm Sam, and I'm thrilled that you're here. If you're listening, there's a good chance you're as crazy about golf as I am, or at least curious about what it means to learn the game on your own terms. In this podcast, I'll be sharing my journey from my earliest memories on the range to the lessons both on and off of the course that continue to shape how I view the world today. Consider this our official starting point, a foundation for all of the stories and tips that are about to come. So, you could say that golf has been in my life from a really early age. My dad was a casual golfer, and when I was just a baby, it's so young that I don't even have any memory of it, but he would take me to the range. And I know because he told me these stories, but I didn't pick up a club, and for years after that, mostly because I just didn't have access to the game. But even then, I think it did have a profound effect on my ability to play the game now. Just, I think, being around the game before I could really even have a conscious memory definitely influences me today. But my grandpa, on the other hand, he was a huge golf fanatic, if you will. He had a pretty unique style on the course. I remember him wearing like the super high tube socks, and when we would get like around the green, he would a lot of times chip with his 3-wood, using it more like a Texas wedge to just get the ball close, get up and down from wherever he was. But when he passed away, he left me $500 exactly. And to honor him, I took that money and went and bought my very first set of clubs that I ever owned. So it felt like a symbolic kind of passing of the torch, even though I was just getting started in golf really as an adult. So from there, that first set of clubs, I mean, honestly, it wasn't top of the line clubs. It was actually the last set of Nike golf clubs before they stopped making them. And I still play with them today. I definitely will be getting clubs in the future, but these were like the first set of irons that I had, the first driver, like all of it, my bag, everything. And I remember just feeling super excited as I went out and played 18, and I wanted to walk the full 18 and carry my bag. I just felt like it was something that I had to do. I was like, all right, let me walk 18 holes. I'll carry my bag, and I want to see what I shoot. And my scorecard was pretty gnarly. I remember it was, I tallied up everything at the end, and I shot 135. So I remember looking at that and saying, wow, it took me 135 strokes to get around this course. But the shots that stuck with me were just pure. I mean, even like the doubles, the things like that, the triple bogeys, there are still times when I dropped a putt or I had a great chip that was just, felt effortless and felt pure. And those moments were just, it was like a puzzle that I was determined to sort of unlock. And each swing was a new one, and that's when I realized I'm hooked. Like I'm going to be playing golf for a very long time. So once I started playing a lot, people started asking me like why I didn't get into golf lessons right away. And for me, it boiled down to just a couple of things. The first one was finances. I mean, at the time, I was a first-generation college student on a very tight budget, and I just didn't have the resources to go pay a coach to teach me how to play. Instead of paying that coach, I'd rather use that money to actually go play myself. And then 2, I was just super curious. So I'm the type of person who just loves diving into like a hard task and then figuring it out as I go. And that's what golf was for me. And then like the last piece was that I just wanted to build skills that felt natural and personal to me without, any sort of pressure from formal instruction. And I would go to the range, experiment, and then reflect on like what worked and what didn't. And definitely there were plenty of mishits and some frustration along the way, but each time something finally clicked and it felt like my own personal discovery, which is tremendously powerful, especially for anyone who's trying to improve at anything. When you feel like you did something different and that unlocked a piece to get better, I don't think it's a great feeling. So again, like at that time that I started really taking golf seriously, I was in my bachelor's degree studying psychology in college, and one of the books that stood out to me during the time was Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. I'm going to butcher his name, but he wrote the book called Flow, and that state of complete immersion where skill meets challenge just took me by, it just grabbed me, because that's exactly what golf was. It's skill and challenge combined. And there's those moments that just kind of make time disappear. And if you've played sports before, you know it because you've been, quote unquote, in the zone. And golf was just a perfect opportunity for me to allow myself to actually get back into the zone and get into that athletic kind of state of mind without, just having access to it, really. So for me, it just, like, I loved the focus process on becoming better and then just focusing on the process instead of just like the outcome of whatever the score was. And it's wild how different it feels to swing like with that mindset. And the mental side of golf is just can't be overstated. It's where so many breakthroughs and breakdowns happen. And there's a reason people say that, golf is life, is because, good or bad lies, you have to play the ball where it lies. And it's just watching the pros versus you actually going out there and doing it yourself is tremendously beneficial in your own development. So for me, like when I grew up, who I looked up to on the course was Tiger. I mean, from that generation where Tiger was just dominating everything, and he's forever, I think, the greatest golfer. But my second person who I followed quite a bit was John Daly, actually. I just remember watching some tournaments like way back in the day, again, before I even played golf, but there would be golf on TV, and you'd see John Daly go out there with his mullet and just fun pants, like striped pants, whatever it was. He was super unorthodox, and that always kind of caught my eye. So I've always had a soft spot for John Daly just because I think he's so unique. And when I was a kid, I had a mullet. So, anytime I see someone out there that's rocking a mullet, I was like, this guy's awesome. And then as of more recently, I really started watching a lot of LPGA golf, and mostly just because their swings were just so perfect. And Nelly Korda stood out to me. She's just super athletic, and then her swing was just, it's one of my favorite swings out there. It's very controlled, and she doesn't look like she's trying that hard at all. And so those are kind of the three golfers who had a big impact on my overall game. And again, over the years, golf is more than just really a hobby to me. It's been a personal growth tool. So each season, I notice how the lessons on the course kind of bleed into other parts of my life. Patience is a big one, persistence, and again, the ability to bounce back after a failure. And every year I feel like my life gets better, and so my golf scores also get better. And I just think that it's a huge win-win. Every year my life has gotten better exponentially. And since I've started playing golf, my scores have lowered. So my life gets better and my scores get lower. And it's to see that kind of tangible reflection in the effort that I'm putting in, just kind of what keeps me going. So some of my most meaningful friendships as well have also been associated with golf. There's just a special camaraderie that forms when you're playing with folks regularly, and it really kind of allows you to absorb the game in a wholesome way. So that's pretty much my story. Future episodes, I'm going to dive deeper into like the mindset of, being a self-taught golfer, some practical tips that I've picked up, and just a few anecdotes about both the highs and lows of kind of forging my own path in this game. And I hope you'll stick around because there's definitely a lot more to come. I want this podcast to be a place where, we could just talk openly about the challenges of golf, share victories and the moments that just remind us all like why we fell in love with the sport in the first place. So thanks for hanging out with me on this very first inaugural episode. And until next time, keep swinging your swing, stay curious, and just remember, it's not about chasing perfection. It's really just about enjoying the journey. So this has been super fun. Again, my name is Sam, and you've been listening to The Self-Taught Golfer. I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, bye.